Alright, here's a number of worded problems, quite good ones actually. Area of a square is 81 square centimeters, so let me draw a square, and the area is 81. Now, if the area is 81, then each side has to be 9, right? Because area is length times width. Length times width. If the area is 81, if it's a square, both of these have to be the same, so you could call it w squared, say. Square root both sides, so each side has to be 9. Then they say if the same amount is added to one dimension and removed from the other, the resultant rectangle has an area 9 square centimeters less than the area of the square. Okay, so 9 square centimeters, so if the area of the square is 81, then this new figure is going to change to 9 less than that, so it'll be 72. So I'm going with my same formula, length times width, but this time I'm getting 72. And they said to one of these sides they add something, let's say add x, but to the other one they subtract it. And when they do that, then they get a different area, it changes to 72. So my length, I can call it 9 plus x, and my width will be 9 minus x. Okay, so let's FOIL that. 81 minus 9x plus 9x minus x squared is equal to 72. These cancel. And so let's move the x squared over to this side and make it positive. And then let's move the 72 over to the other side and make it negative. So then I get 81 take away 72 would be 9. Oh, that's a nice one. Square root both sides, so x comes out to be 3. How much is added or subtracted? 3. So if I look at my new figure just to check, 9 plus 3 would be, this side would be 12. And 9 minus 3 would be, this side would be 6. And 12 times 6, sure enough, is 72. Yeah, that's a good one. Next question. A picture 15 by 18 inches. 15 by 18. 18, 15. Is mounted on a piece of mat board. Mat board. So that there's an even amount of mat all around the picture. How wide will be the area if the mounted picture, so that's at the end, is 598 square inches. So the area of the blue is 598. So I think they'll do the same thing with this one, is you would add, so from here to here is 15, so here they'd add a border to it, and they'd add a border to this side. So this big side would be 15 plus 2 x's, and then similarly on this side, you'd have to add this border, and then add a border here. So the big side would be 18 plus 2 x's. I maybe should have, instead of putting those in blue, I should have put them in yellow. So this side is 18, this side is 15. So if you add 2 x's, then you get this. If you add 2 x's to that side, you get that. So again, I've got area is equal to length times width. The area is 598 is equal to 18 plus 2x times 15 plus 2x. Same question as the last one now. So you multiply that. 225, so it'd be 260, I think. Is that right? Shoot, I don't have a calculator handy. 40, 9, 8, 1, 270. 270. So 270 and then plus 36x plus 30x plus 4x squared is equal to 598. And then let's bring this 598 to this side. So that would be 328, I think. 328 plus 66x plus 4x squared equals 0. I hope I did that right. Oh, this would be negative 2. Gee, I'm second guessing myself today. And 270, 8, 2, 3. Yeah, that's right. So then I'd rearrange it. 4x squared plus 66x minus 328. Maybe divide everybody by 2. So I'd get 2x squared plus 33x minus 164. And then I'd try and factor that. And if I couldn't factor it, this would be 2x and x. If I couldn't factor it, then I'd use the quadratic formula. I'll leave you to finish that. Okay, next one, ladder leaning against a wall. Okay, so here's a wall, and then I've got a ladder leaning against it. The top of the ladder touches the wall at a height of 9 feet. Find the length of the ladder if the length is 3 feet more than its distance from the wall. So if this is x, then the length of the ladder is x plus 3. So it's a right angle, so it's Pythagoras. C squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. This is my hypotenuse, so x plus 3 squared is equal to, say, x squared plus 9 squared. So I get x squared plus 6x plus 9, when I FOIL that, equals x squared plus 81. The x squareds will cancel, so I'll have 6x is equal to 81 take away 9, I think, is 72. Divide both sides by 6, I think you get 12. So the distance from here to here is 12. How could that be? If the length is 3 feet more than its distance from the wall. Did I do something wrong there? More than likely. Anyway, this distance would be 15. Let me just check that with Pythagoras. Oh no, I guess that could be right. No, it couldn't. No, it couldn't. Let me just check. So 15 squared is equal to 12 squared plus 9 squared. So it's 225 is equal to 144 plus 81. And you add those together and it gives you that. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, that could be. Yeah, it could be. I was just thinking that how could this be 12 if this is only 9? But yeah, it could. Okay, so the question is find the length of the ladder. So the length of the ladder is 15. Okay, next question. A stone thrown downward initial velocity, so they have s of t is equal to 4.9 t squared plus 19.6 t. T's in seconds. If a stone is thrown downward at 19.6, yeah, that's where they get that from a height of 377.3, and that's what s of t is. That's what that is. How long will it take the stone to hit the ground? Okay, so 377.3 is equal to 4.9 t squared plus 19.6 t. Let's subtract that from each side. Plus 19.6 t minus 377.3. You have fun factoring that. Maybe though, why don't we try and divide everybody by 4.9? Let's see if that'll actually work. I'll bring out my decimals here. Oops. Okay. I'll put it over here. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so 19.6 divided by 4.9. 19.6 divided 4.9. Divide 4.9. Oh, comes out even. Nice. So this would be 0 is equal to t squared plus 4t, and then that other number, 377. Let's do that one. Okay, this is the clincher. 377.3 divide 4.9. match made in heaven. 77. So minus 77. Okay, so now factor. Two things that multiply to 77 at 4. It's got to be 7 and 11. This is positive, so the bigger number is positive. So you'd say the time is 7 or the time is negative 11, right? Using the 0 property. Either that's 0 or this is 0. And you can't have a negative time. So you'd say 7 seconds. That's how long it would take for the stone to hit the ground. Okay, next question. Recent trip, Sarah's car traveled 20 miles an hour faster. Okay, that it did on the remaining. So the first part of the travel, distance, rate, time. 20 miles for the first 130 miles. So that's the distance. And 20 miles an hour faster, so I would probably say x plus 20 for the rate. And time, I don't know the time. We'll say t1. Okay, and then on the second part of the trip, she went 80 miles, and she would have just gone 8, or x, because on the other one is x plus 20, and this is time 2. Okay, but I know that the sum of both of these is 4. They're not each 2, like one could be 3 and one could be 1, or 2.5 and 1.5. I don't know what their times are. But maybe what I could do is solve each of these equations for time. Let's do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say time 1 plus time 2 equals 4. We'll do that. So let's solve each of these. So the formula is distance is equal to rate times time. To solve for time, time would be equal to distance over the rate. Is that right? Yeah. So the time for the first one is the distance 130 over x plus 20. And the time for the second one would be 80 divided by x. But time 1 plus time 2 is equal to 4. So I can say, plug this in for time 1. 130 over x plus 20 plus 80 over x is equal to 4. Now I've got an equation with just one variable I can solve for it. So I'd find lowest common denominator, which is x plus 20 times x, and multiply every term by that. X and x plus 20, x and x plus 20, and don't forget doing this one, x and x plus 20. So here the x plus 20's cancel, you wind up with 130x. Here the x's cancel, and then you have 80 times x plus 20 is equal to, here I can take the 4x and FOIL it in. So it'd be 4x squared plus 80x. Okay, simplifying a bit. This would be 80x plus 1600 equals 4x squared plus 80x. 80x is common on both sides, so I can cancel that. Now let's bring everything over to the right side. So it'll be 0 is equal to 4x squared minus 130x minus 1600 equals 0. 130 divided by 4. Does that go in even? Doesn't go in even. Darn. So at this point then I would try and factor it. It might be a 2x and a 2x, or it could be an x and a 4x. So try and factor it, and if you can't factor it, use the quadratic formula. And the x that you'll solve for is the speed that she went on the first part of the trip, and to get the speed that she went on this would actually be the second part. To get the speed on the first part, you just add 20 to whatever you come up with for x. Okay, last question. A magazine earned $51 million in 1988. If the advertising revenue was 5 times the subscription revenue, how much did the magazine earn from advertising. Oh, so advertising plus subscriptions gives you 51 million. Then they say advertising is or was 5 times subscription. So then what I do is I take this 5s and plug it in wherever I see an A. So here's an A. So this would be 5s plus s is equal to 51 million. 5s plus s would be 6s is equal to 51. Divide both sides by 6. You get 51 over 6. 3 will go into each of those, I think. 17 and 2. So 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So that's how much they got from subscription. And to get advertising, you got to do advertising. So 51 take away 8.5 will be how much they get for advertising. So 542. So 42.5 million for advertising, 8.5 from subscription. Hopefully that at least gives you a start for most all of those questions. Those were good ones.